Hello, my wonderful Moonbeams. It's Nikki T here from Moonchild Tarot, and I have got my monthly April roundup. Have also got a little haul for you. So I've purchased a deck, and I've also got a surprise that I'm going to be unboxing here as well. So stick around to find out what's been going on with me in the month of April. So the first thing that I want to go through is the decks that I've been using this month. So firstly, my daily draw deck, I've been using the Arthurian Tarot. This is by Claire Duval and Anatorian, and it's a French deck. So I've been the idea was to spend a day with each card, and then where I could Google Translate part of the guidebook, get the information from the guidebook there, because you could just read this as a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but I wanted to kind of get the deeper knowledge. Now, I will come on to my daily practice and kind of how that's been coming. But this deck is beautiful. It's just very typical Anatorian kind of artwork. And I love it. I just think I love that for the Eight of Wands. This two of Swords. There's some cards that really do take my breath away. Like this, I would hang this up. I love this for the Moon card, and it's really easy to kind of work out what is what in terms of, it's got the number, and it's got obviously deniers are coins, coups are coups, cups are cups, batons are wands, and then éprise is swords. So you could kind of keep this just reading as a general reader, but I do like, digging into the guidebook, and there's been some Arthurian legends that I've not known about, or parts of things, so I've really kind of enjoyed digging into that. I think for that reason, I'm probably gonna keep this deck out for now, just because I don't want to put it back. I don't want to, having looked at some of the cards and looked at the guidebook and kind of done the work through that, I want to kind of dig into it a little bit more, because it is just beautiful, and I do want to get to the point where I can just read this, as without having to, I can read it without having to look at the guidebook, but like having that full package, like it's almost like a deck study, and if I've missed some cards and stuff, I will, I can fill them out as and when. So this is the Arthurian Tarot. It is available on Amazon because it's the French edition. And I love it, and the card stock's really good. It's a really easy, nice shuffle. There he is. It's one of my favorite devil cards. I just love that. So I love this deck. I do. I love this deck. It makes my heart sing, and especially with it being spring, I think this is a perfect deck to keep out for spring. So it's going to go back there where I keep my decks there, but I'll just move it out the way for now so I don't knock anything over, because I have a habit when I'm filming videos of knocking decks all over the place. Now, a second deck I've been using has been the Antique Anatomy deck, and I got this around about February, and I've not really put it down since. I love this as a very quick reader. Scenic decks, they have their place, and they have a place in my collection when I've got time to sit, to think of the artwork, to really kind of dig deep. But sometimes I just want a quick answer, so I will just use the understanding of the suits and the numerology to kind of, and my knowledge anyway, of kind of there, and it helps me not go into that kind of analysis paralysis kind of state, because sometimes you can, like, I'm gonna pick up this deck again. Sometimes you can spend so much time like analysing every little detail and asking the questions of how it applies, and journaling and doing all the work and things like that. But sometimes all I need is a quick answer. All I need is a quick, I don't want to be journaling and having a deep think and having a deep kind of moment with every single card. That's just not me. Now, that might be some people's practice. Brilliant. If you want to spend that time really digging deep and really getting that amount. But I just feel like sometimes it's just for the sake of it. Like, having done a lot of counselling, therapy in the past and things like that, I'm very well aware of my shadows and done shadow work and things like that. So sometimes I just need for me to kind of know something and then just get on. And this has been really good. This is a really direct reader. It'll even laugh at you when, I did a reading for myself the other day, and I asked it a question, and the minute I laid the cards out, it was like so obvious it was laughing at me. It was kind of like, you knew the answer, you knew we weren't gonna, it was something that it wasn't gonna tell me the answer, and it was like laughing, going, it brought the Hanged Man out, and it was like, you're not getting the answer, it's not like that, and things. So, and there he is. So it kind of has a little bit of, I like that cheeky directness, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need to know, a little bit of guidance towards something, and then you can move on and not have to kind of really, really go in depth. I am going to be putting this away for now, but definitely it will be back. Definitely. I love this. I do love reading with pip decks. I think sometimes it helps me within readings not going too long and being too explanatory, because even in a reading, and when I do a reading you get through my Ko-fi, they are really detailed. They are like, over 20 minutes and really in depth, really detailed. There's a lot. But sometimes when you're doing quick readings for, say, when I did TikTok, and I've not been on there for a while, sometimes you just need a quick little boost, a quick little answer, and then you can move on. You don't kind of need to go into all the semantics of everything and things like that. And sometimes people don't want don't want a big long answer. Sometimes they just only have the space for the short answer, and that's it, and moving on. Sorry, the ramble has come back in full force. So I will be putting this away for now, but it's definitely going to be coming out. It's a much loved deck in my collection. There's no way I'm getting rid of it. I would love the cardstock to be a bit thicker, because it's a little bit papery, but we can't win them all. And yeah, I love it. And yeah, I'm so glad that I actually went ahead and bought it and brought it into my collection. So that is a deck that is going on the shelf for now. And funnily enough, thinking of, pip decks and that, I am going to be probably keeping this deck out for the month of May. This is the Rainbow Spectrum And I wanted a Pip version of the Trionfi della Luna. I wanted the Pips version just because I do like sometimes reading with Pips. And this is perfect. It's got that kind of Marseille style, but it's got Patrick Valenza's artwork. And I love Patrick Valenza's artwork. And it's just rainbow colours. Who doesn't love a rainbow? Who doesn't love, like, the rainbow of colours and everything? So to honour kind of spring, summer, we are keeping this bad boy. Well, he's not really a bad boy, but we're keeping this deck out, and I love this. Is direct to the point. Again, I like Patrick Valenza's decks because they've always got a little bit of cheek about them. They've always got a little bit of a, you know, cheekiness kind of energy. So Rodney, because this is called Rodney, is because I'm that girl that gives names to her decks. Rodney is staying for now. I don't name all my decks because I've got too many, but ones that I kind of feel have a very quick impression on me, they are decks that end up getting named. Interestingly enough, Simon from the Hermit's Cave made a video yesterday about 10 decks that you wouldn't get rid of, and this is definitely one of them. And I think probably you could, if you looked at my decks that have got names, that would probably be the ones where I wouldn't get rid of them. So this is the Rainbow Spectrum Trionfi della Luna. I love this. The cardstock is beautiful and buttery. It just shuffles well. It's really good. I don't like riffle shuffling it too much just because it was, even though this was a dinged copy, it is, you know, not a mass market. I don't mind battering my mass market decks up, but this I kind of more overhand shuffle with it more, and my other Trionfi, I don't mind doing the riffle shuffle with it. But yeah, look at that strength card. That is just so amazing. Love it. Yeah, so this is staying for my quick short, need a quick answer, move on, and then go. So that is 2 out of 3 decks are going to be staying, and 1 is going to be going. Let's move on to the deck that will come in to replace, well, you can't really replace the Antique Anatomy, but to kind of, I want to kind of bring in and start working with. So the deck that I'm going to use this month, and I'm going to give it a chance, is the Wildwood Tarot. Sorry, I had my brain disconnection there. Now, I've talked about this deck before. You know, people that have been on my channel a while know that I struggle a little bit with this, partly because it's got a huge guidebook and it's got a different system to the RWS, so I can't just pick it up and read with it. And I'm, you know, as my brain is kind of aging, I'm 45, as my brain is aging and I'm struggling with I've got a autoimmune condition as well, I kind of want more decks where I can just pick them up, read with them, and then use the guidebook kind of later to kind of supplement it. That's been the way I've been working, but this has always stayed in my I've had this for quite a while. It's always been part of my collection, and I have read with it, and when I think about, do I need to get rid of this deck, there's always a little bit of a hesitancy with this. You know, the Shadowscapes, that's going on eBay. I've got another Oracle deck, the Healing Spirits Oracle, that's going to go on eBay. I've no question about that. I don't get on with them decks, but with this, there's something. Now, I I'm not keen on animal decks, only if they are crows. Usually kind of crow decks I am more likely to want to get, or kind of MJ Cullinane's artwork and things like that. Her kind of animal, the way she looks at animals and the way she does animals, I'm more keen to get them. Whereas ones like the Animal Totem or the Woodland Wardens or ones like that, and especially decks where it's human doing animals doing human things or stuff like that, anamorphic, is it anamorphic, I can't say that word, but I struggle with the animals in tarot decks. I much kind of prefer just the scenic kind of decks. This, I'm getting a bit confused now because it is beautiful, but it does need time to honor that system and to go through and to look at the differences and to kind of, and again, maybe read, as well as looking at the guidebook, because Sylvie at Tarot Magpie did a great video about, the joys of a guidebook, why we need a guidebook. The guidebook is there, you might as well use it rather than kind of reading intuitively. But I think for this one, I've got to kind of do a mixture of both. I've got to, use that intuitiveness, read the imagery intuitively, and then go to the guidebook. So I am going to be using this. I don't know whether I will use it. I'm gonna give it a try. But if not, if I kind of go, oh, I didn't really use it, I didn't really want to use it, then it's going to be reordered and it's going on eBay, because I don't have the space and I just don't have the mental bandwidth to have decks in my collection that I'm just not sure about. So and I mean, I've written in the guidebook and stuff like that. I've done it in pencil so I can rub it out, but to just try and, oh no, I haven't written in the guidebook. I've written in the guidebook in pen, but I'll have to just be honest about that. And move on. But it is like, I love that card. That card is just, yeah, I love that. And it has got the keywords underneath, but sometimes the keywords don't kind of align with what I feel with the suit and the card. And I just think sometimes, with these tarot decks where they've changed the system and they've changed cards around and they've renamed them and things like that, I just think if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why are we doing this? Why are we, and they have they have their reasons and things like, the Goddess of Love Tarot, again is another example. And I can understand why it's been done, but then it just doesn't help you as a reader if you're trying to remember lots of different system or names or things like that. It's just, my bugbear over people changing things. We haven't got the time. And interestingly, when I was watching video walkthroughs of the Greenwood Tarot, which is a deck that has been it's a wildly loved deck in the tarot community. Everybody wanted to get it. There was a Kickstarter, and then there's been people have not received it, and there's been backlash and back and forth and stuff. Looking at that deck, there are very similar images in this deck, so it reaffirmed to me when watching that walkthrough. It reaffirmed that I've got the Wildwood. I don't need the Greenwood because got a very similar vibe, and it's probably, you know, and I struggle with decks that look a bit grainy anyway, so I didn't really kind of care for the controversial opinion. I didn't really care for the green wood kind of artwork. This artwork's a bit better, but again, it's not what I usually kind of go for. So I'm going to give this the good old try. You know, I'm going to give it a chance, and then we'll see. We'll see about it. If I like it, you know, I might do something like take off the borders, you know, take the top, the sides, and just leave the bottom there if I do like it. If not, it's going in the sale pile. So yeah, so that is the Wildwood Tarot. So I'm gonna give that a good try. I've got the book here, so this book is going to stay on my desk, so it's going to go here, and it's going to stand up my desk so I can easily grab it. I can just grab it from here, and I can use it, and hopefully it will save the deck. But I'm at this point where now I think if I'm not reaching for a deck and I don't really love a deck, what's the point in it being in my collection? It's taking up space, it's taking up headspace as well, and yeah, it's just not kind of. And I think I've got to the point where now I'm very, very careful about what I buy and whether I'm going to use a deck and whether I'm going to like a deck. Now I'm very careful and I know what I like. I don't think I'm going to be bringing things into my collection the way I have wish lists, and I leave them on the wish list and things. And if I still keep thinking about it, then that's a sign that possibly I'm going to want it. If it stays on the wish list for really long, then I think, oh, do I really want it? Do I really, you know what I mean? So anyway, we're going to move on to my little haul. So I bought a tarot deck. I got this secondhand, and I probably wouldn't have purchase this as quick if it hadn't have been for seeing a copy of it secondhand and thinking, yeah, that's good, let's give it a go. And it's the Bonefire Tarot. I've seen this on Sylvie's channel at Tarot Magpie, and she raved about the guidebook. Now I know I always say I haven't got time for a guidebook, but I do love a good guidebook. I do love a guidebook that's been kind of carefully thought about, curated. It's easy to understand, and I will kind of, revel in it. Like the guidebook for the Arthurian Tarot, this is really good. I just love it. It's explained in a way that I can understand it. It's really good, and it's links to a lot of the Arthurian legend. Anyway, so I've been looking for a deck that kind of gets into that, Beltane kind of summery kind of fire energy, and I just, this has got a really good guidebook, and it has got a glossary of all the kind of imagery at the back, so you can just look at what image is jumping out, look at the back, and then you've got your information there. So that's a really, really clever way of being able to decode the cards. Whereas if something like a butterfly was jumping at you, you could look in the back and you don't have to read the description. You've got a quick thing. So yeah, you've probably seen the Bonefire Tarot before. It comes in this box. I'd have loved it if it had like a ribbon so it was easier to get the box. This is the boxes, as you can see, the box is damaged. That's the only kind of downside to buying secondhand. You know, you might get a damaged box or things like that. Now, I love this edging. I just love this matte orange kind of edging, and it's just different. It's just unusual. It's different. It's a bit kind of wacky and crazy. It is very busy, so I wouldn't be doing big like 8-card readings with this. It'd probably be for smaller kind of 3-card pulls and things like that. I do love the fact that they've kept like the pine cones throughout with the wands. You know, it's just different, and I just liked it, and I like the size. It's like a little bit smaller and a little bit squarer, and this might end up coming into being used in May, just because I'm kind of keen to get it used. I've not cleansed it yet because I do tend to kind of cleanse my decks, especially if I've got a used deck in. I tend to, but I just love this. It's very kind of tattoo-esque, if you get what I mean. It's got that kind of tattoo, kind of parlour vibes to it, and I love that. And I love that you can just see the feet in the tower, and you don't see the full tower. You just see where it's cracked and where the person's fallen, and excuse me, things like that. So this is the Bonefire Tarot. I am so excited to be getting to kind of using this and getting to go with this. It's quite, you know, the faces, they don't look like perfectly polished, or kind of, they've got a little bit of kind of whimsy about them and things like that. I do really like this. This, as we say, tickles my pickle. Yeah, so I'm going to be really enjoying, like, look at that, for the, you know, moving on from that heartbreak. You know, are you creating your own ship of sorrow? You know, like, are you dwelling on that ship of sorrow? Is it time to jump off and jump into new waters, or go on another boat, or things like that? Like, yeah, there's so many things. There's so many you know, there's so much imagery in this that it's really, really, and it's quite easy. I struggle with my eyesight, but this is quite easy to kind of see a lot of the imagery there. I don't really have to kind of take my magnifying glass out, because I can see everything. Maybe, you know, there is little things kind of there that you could look at, but it's not one of those decks like the Shadowscapes Tarot, where you're squinting and you're having to kind of see all the little minute details. This has made it very, very clear, so you don't miss anything. And it's just it's a different deck from maybe my style, but I do like kind of tattoo art and things. But yeah, and I love this size is a bit weird and a bit unusual, so this might end up making it into my May decks, but we will see. I'd forgotten about a deck that I've been using for private readings, which has been, it stays in the box at the moment, which is my Tarot of Vampires, my Spanish edition, because I couldn't get the English edition before it got out of print. I've been using this for, and I've got the app on my phone, so I've got the book on my phone. I've been using this for client readings, and I'm finding that this is a really, really good deck to read with relationships. Yes, it's very 90s kind of, you kind of Interview with a Vampire style kind of, 90s kind of feel there. And it's not a very inclusive deck in terms of, they're all very, very pretty, beautiful, and pale. But it gives really good readings in terms of relationships. It's just, the facial expressions, just from the facial expressions and like the hidden details and things like that. I've really, really enjoyed using this to do relationship readings with, and it is really, and I'm tempted to put it kind of up as an option on my store, that you can kind of get your own vampire love read. I don't know whether it's just that's the way that my brain kind of decodes kind of your gothic decks, but I do very much see them fitting very well with relationship and love readings rather than shadow readings. Yes, you can use them for shadow, but I wouldn't automatically jump for this for a shadow reading. I mean, it would do a good job, but I think this is more, it likes to chat about relationships. It likes to chat about matters of the heart. It likes to kind of dig that deep. And it's very, good with things like reading the direction and the way that they're facing, the way that they're looking, and things like that. I've got so much from this deck, even without kind of doing a full deck study already, which I want to kind of do, and he's on the cards for October, is spending more time with the guidebook and doing a deck study with it. It is really, really a really good reader for relationships, and I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, it's a very chatty deck. It likes talking, and I've not been using as many, like, I love my darker kind of more supernatural kind of themed decks. I love them. A lot of my collection is there, but at the moment I'm not feeling drawn to it. But this just likes to come out and play. It's not for everybody's taste, but then pretty decks are not really, well, your conventional pretty decks are not really my cup of tea. They're not my cup of tea. I drink coffee. So this, for me, I see the beauty in this. And yeah, it is a bit of its time. It's very much of the 90s. Just got to, the guidebook is a beast, because I've got the guidebook on my phone, but it, just seeing the size of that, it is an absolute, sorry, it's I might do this off camera actually. It is an absolute beast of a deck. Now, so that might be coming, that kind of gets used for a lot of relationship readings that I've been doing there. Now, moving on to, so we've done the haul. We've got our Bonfire Tarot. I feel like I've done really, really well. And this is not a brag or anything like that. I don't mean to brag or anything with this. But this is the first deck that I've bought in probably 8 weeks. Now, I think I'd got my decks at Christmas for my Christmas and birthday, and then I did a month. So I did the whole of January not buying anything. Then come February, I bought 3 decks within the space of 2 weeks. So I kind of fell a little bit off the wagon, because there was it might have been 4 actually, 4 decks in February that I purchased, and I thought, oh, I've fallen off the wagon, I've done really bad. But since February, so March and April, this is the first deck I have bought since March and April. So I feel like I'm doing well to kind of slow down the consumption, because last year I bought around 16 decks that year. I bought 16 decks into my collection. That's quite a lot, and I bought a heck of a lot the year before. So my collection has kind of doubled. My collection has doubled each year. And now I'm coming to the point where I am being more mindful with the decks I buy, you know, whether I'm going to have time to dedicate to it. I think, like with this one, yeah, the guidebook is amazing. I can use it, but also the imagery speaks to me in a way that I can just pick it up when I want to, and kind of read with it. Now, so that they are the decks that I've been working with, I'm gonna work with, and just kind of I'm gonna go on about my kind of tarot practice and my journals now, and then I will show you the surprise that I got. So my practice has been, you can see, gaps. I have struggled a little bit this month. You can see that I didn't do a weekly reading in the 3rd week of April. I hadn't done a weekly reading in the last week, but I did a retrospective reading and filled it in, just because I had some time and I wanted to kind of sum up what had been the previous week. But as you can see, I've really struggled with doing my daily practice, and I think maybe that week has been the first week back for the kids, so it's again getting back into routine. That week was, my daughter was off, but my son was in school. So again, it's the having the remembering. I really struggle with routine, and if there's a break in my routine, so I will do things like this morning, I will do things at a certain time, and at a certain time I know, like 8:15, I have to get up, you know, I've done everything, I've got to clean my teeth and get out the door with my daughter, otherwise we're going to be late. And then I'll go for a walk, and then I'll get back at a certain time, and I have to kind of time my day that way in order to remember to do things, like even simple things like remembering to drink water, remembering to go for a walk, simple things like that. If I don't have that routine set up, I find it really, really hard to remember or keep doing. Anyway, usually I will get back from my walk, and then I will come straight upstairs. And because I wasn't doing that there, I haven't kind of remembered to go to my desk and pick my, you know, I haven't had that desire to really pick up the cards as much this month. And maybe that's because I've been spending more time, you know, focusing on the family. We can see there's been quite a few major arcana cards coming up here in the weeklies and things like that. A lot of wands, quite a few swords. It has been a bit of a mentally kind of month where, you know, it's been 4 of wands. It's been about family celebration, things like that, gathering around. So yeah, so my monthly read was temperance, So my overview was temperance, my strength was the Queen of Pentacles. So yeah, looking after the family, you know, it's going to be a slow pace, it's going to be about balance this time. And the challenge was the Eight of Wands, getting kind of momentum, getting things done, it has been a slow month this month. It's been a hard month of getting things done. Because of that, my weekly and monthly diary has kind of stopped. So I done, where am I? March. So this was March. And then I did my monthly read for April, didn't fill it in. I did the first week. I did the second week, I pulled, I didn't even journal, and then that's it. I've kind of stopped. I don't know whether I'm going to be keeping this journal. I'm coming towards the end of this anyway. I'm, you know, by June, this will be filled up. So I don't know whether I'm going to be keeping, I don't think I'm going to be keeping with this practice. I just think it's adding a layer where I can't do it. Journaling is something I struggle with, or kind of don't feel like I've got to be somebody who's doing, and that journaling side of it is something that I kind of struggle a lot more with. And as I said, I feel like with me having the same routine very much most days, I do the same thing because I'm a stay-at-home mum and things like that. There doesn't seem to be a lot that needs to be kind of gone into and dissected, and we don't need to kind of overanalyze everything. You know, you could get analysis paralysis. You could end up analyzing yourself to the point of kind of not being able to do anything. I'd much rather kind of do. I've been doing a new little system of how to get myself like how to be more productive, and I've got a little book that I haven't got it here. I've got a little book where I'm writing my tasks in, and I'm breaking the task down into like really actionable steps to get things done, and that seems to be working for me at the moment, although I've forgotten a little bit about it. But that seems to be getting me a bit more like productive and feeling better and kind of working there. I think maybe next month I might show it to you guys. Now, the last thing, so the surprise this month has been I entered a giveaway on the lovely Nova Mundi Tarot's YouTube. I will link her down below. And I entered her competition for her deck that is being published by Rockpool, and I won. I was so shocked. I was really in a slump. I don't have, you know, I was seeing a lot of decks and I was thinking, you know, I don't really want to spend the money on them, and I'm trying to be low buy and everything, and it was making me feel a bit down. And then suddenly I got a tag on her video, and it was to say that I'd won her oracle deck. So this is a little, I'm going to finish with a little walkthrough of this deck. So this is the Qajar deck, and a Persian miniature card deck. I am so grateful to Nova because she was originally only going to do one copy in the giveaway, and had she have done that, I wouldn't have won. So I was so grateful she decided to give away 2 copies. It's beautiful, as is, you know, Rockpool. You've got your 2-part box here, and yeah, so let's get into it. I will preference this by saying, you know, I got this deck as part of the giveaway. It's really hard for me to be impartial because I've won a deck. I'm just gonna, you know, you take this as you will, because I know I've seen a lot of creators, people kind of saying about how can you be objective if you're gifted a deck, and that's a real tricky one. It is hard because you've got to acknowledge that that person has been kind enough to gift to you and things like that. And sometimes what people don't see is they don't see the decks you don't show, because I think creators would rather not show the deck than show the deck and kind of pan it and things like that. So yeah, if you like it, you go and watch Nova's video, go and watch other people's videos, go and, you know, put it on your wish list, have a think. Don't have me be the be all and end all of your decisions. You've got autonomy. You know, you can make a decision, but I'm gonna, you know, say I've had a little sneak peek and I already really love it. So you've got your standard rock pool picture there. So it is, you've got your guidebook and it's colour. So it's, interestingly enough, it comes up at the harder page. Is it already calling me out? And I like this deck because it's not just love and light. It's not just fluffy. It's not all positive and toxic positivity. It's got, you know, there's a card, absent-minded. Like, it's got the kind of, it's got the darkness and the light to it. Like, it's got this gilding. It's gilded. I've got to say, and I think this might be a rock pool that have kind of done this, but this is slightly thinner cardstock, I think. I don't know whether they've done that to make it a bit more you know, able to shuffle. But thinking about my, like, this is my Deep, Dark and Dangerous, which is another, I'm pretty sure it's another rock pool deck. Yeah, it's another rock pool deck. This is a little bit thicker. It's a little bit kind of, I don't know whether it's more cardboardy or what. The cards are slightly more, I'd say, malleable. So I don't know whether it's because it's kind of easier to shuffle. I would say this is probably easier to shuffle than, say, this deck, which has got the thicker, you know, I've had to, like this one, I've had to, like, shuffle this quite a lot to kind of get it to where I want it. It's bowed. It's got a bit of a bow to it. And, you know, this has been a kind of harder shuffle because the cardstock's a little bit thicker. So I don't know whether they've moved to a slightly thinner, because sometimes thinner cardstock is better for the shuffle. Now, you've got this beautiful, like, greenish dark border there. And yeah, you've got absent-minded. It's so different. Like, most of the decks I've got are your kind of computer imaged kind of imagery that are kind of very westernized, and this is a little bit different. I love that. I love that she's taken kind of her heritage, part of her culture, and used it within the deck. Like Addict, like, it's not a love and light deck. It's not gonna kind of it's not going to countersign your kind of toxic traits. It's going to call you out, I feel like. There. Attention seeker. I love that. She's like, look at me, look at me. The cat's like, no way. There. Cat lady. Like, that gives me this idea of not wanting to go out, staying in your comfort zone, being that kind of, you know, a little bit of Four of Cups there. I have to move quickly in case nudity. Clown, love that. And I love that, like, he's going behind her and taking a purse. Yeah, the look, the bombastic side eye. Yeah, I love just what she's done with it. And the windows, it seems like you're peeking in to this like real life. Yeah, it's not all like, you've got free spirits, you've got, you know, your more positively coded cards, but then you've got, you know, genius, but then you've got gossip. Like, this is going to be such a good deck, I would say, for like a hidden depths read. Like, where's the kind of inner workings to a problem that you don't sometimes want to, you know, you don't want to admit. And there's what, 43 cards, 44. Yeah, it's a decent amount. Intrusive, love that. Judgmental, yeah. I think sometimes some people, you know, need decks that are not just going to be, oh, everything's great, everything's brilliant, everything's this, everything's that. You need that kind of, somebody is going to call it out. And I just love, I'll be really interested to like read the imagery. Pretentious, yeah. I think I'd have to be having a good look at some of these images later when I use this. I'm going to keep this out for, and you've got a card there, I'm going to keep this out for me to mess around with and to kind of play. Yeah, because I'd love to start reading with this. And the guidebook here, you know, it's oh, and she's got a little message. Oh, I hope this deck brings you joy and clarity. Oh, I love that. Oh, it didn't, because I've not looked at this. So by integrating visual and emotional elements with the exploration of personality traits, this oracle deck offers a rich, multi-dimensional approach to personal insight and guidance. Like, it's not just generic, and I like that. It goes different. It goes into those personality traits that we don't, you know, we tend to gloss over. We don't tend to kind of want to look at. We don't want to be, you know, called out for being pretentious or for being intrusive or things like that. But sometimes we need that. We need that deep, hard truth. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to kind of bring this out and to bring this out with some kind of maybe this will probably go very, very well with my Deviant Moon tarot. I think this would work really, really well with the Patrick Valenza decks. I just think they've got a very similar kind of vibe. So thank you so much to Nova and Nova Mundi Tarot for this absolutely beautiful giveaway prize. I am absolutely stoked. I am going to be making a gold, and I don't know that colour. I've got to try and replicate that very tealy blue kind of petrol kind of vibe there, to make a bag to match it. I've got this bag for my Somnia, but I think this is too bright, but a bit of a darker blue with the gold, and that would look absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for sticking with me in this roundup and showing my deck, showing my practice. It's been a bit of a hard month to kind of have that motivation, but hopefully hopefully things will improve. I will let you know how I get on with my task of kind of trying to tame the wildwood, trying to tackle the wildwood. If I can tackle the wildwood, who knows, I might do my soft deck study because I've been putting that off for ages as well. So let me know what you've been using this April in the comments. Let me know what you think of Nova's deck. What's your kind of take on it? And the Bonefire Tarot. And yeah, and consider, if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you can just keep up to date with all my crazy ramblings. Have an absolutely amazing week, and I will see you again for another video. Catch you later, Moonbeams.